And we are recording. I believe if everything went right. Yes, everything went right. What is up, Nick? How you doing, buddy?
Awesome, man. Thank you for having me on. I'm honored and I'm humbled to be even able to speak with you. So thank you.
No problem. I saw your game that you're making, and my jaw kind of what? At first I'm like, this looks like somebody threw a mod on No Man's Sky, and then I look closer and I'm like, no, this is completely different. This is awesome. This is it's like adding more sugary content to the dinner plate instead of the vegetables and stuff like that. But it's called Adams Ascending,
Correct.
and we're going to talk a bit about Adams Ascending, your company that you've got called Parable Worlds, and talk a little bit about your shout out from Kind of Funny, the Kind of Funny Games podcast, or it was a looks like a show that they had, a
Yeah,
showcase. So yeah, we're gonna get into talking about that, but how you doing, man?
I'm another day alive, man. I'm so humble, excited to be alive again, another day. And I always say,
This is how you doing? Oh, I'm just excited to be alive for another day. Are you
that's
running?
it,
Are you
man.
like Jason Bourne?
It's the most beautiful gift we all get, and we never really cherish it that much. So yeah, another day alive means another day closer to fulfilling the dream and the purpose. So I'm always happy if I wake up. So I'm doing great, man. And
That's a
then
really good way to put it.
and then you get bonus things like this. So I appreciate it. No, I feel good, man. I feel awesome.
That's good, man. That's really good. And getting closer to the dream, you're making the game called Adams Ascending. I'm going to put it on the screen here so everybody can see it. And Adams Ascending it's a sci-fi game, and I'm really interested in learning more about what this is. So if you'd like, uh, tell me all about it, man.
Yeah. So just to give you the quick synopsis of it, Adam's ascending. You play as Adam. He's an interstellar explorer searching for his long lost daddy, his father, and he ends up discovering a secret that could cure a lot of humanity's problems, but he ends up on this mysterious island that might hold his answers as well as where his dad could have went, and he has to just go on this journey to find out how he arrived there, and most importantly who he needs to become to find his way home and to solve all of his problems. So that's just a small little synopsis. It's a indie game, and I always call it an action adventure sci-fi exploration game. The more you explore, the more you discover who you are as a player and as a person, and as well as what the story holds. So the more you explore, the more you will solve the issues at hand, and then you'll be able to survive the problems ahead. So hopefully that explained it good enough, but that's a little
Yeah,
small
it sounds like
synopsis.
it's very story heavy.
Yeah, I come from a film background. I did film
Really?
for like 7 to 10 years. Worked for NBC and Stars and a bunch of short films that did some cool things, and was a screenwriter a little bit, and nothing major or huge, but did a bunch of stuff. So I always say story's been around before we even know exactly when, and it's something that drives us all, no matter how much multiplayer games we play or story-based games. There's always a story, at its core. And you might say, "Oh, how's there a story at a game like Fortnite?" Well, survive the of whatever amount of people coming at you. That's the story. Like, be the last one to stand, get to your purpose.
Yeah, and
Uh,
also, why are you there? Like, why are you in this battle royale fighting for your life? Like, there's
yeah,
got to be a story there, and it would make it interesting, even if it was just something that was in the background lore that you knew of.
yeah. I think Respawn Entertainment, the guys who've done Titanfall, they've done some great stuff with their you know free to play game, and really pushing things forward in that. So and they're adding little story elements, oh, it's a tournament and you guys are all together fighting for your lives and play as a team. So yeah, story, not to go off topic, but story has always been part of who I am, and I love stories, and I think we all have a story to tell personally as well as in a game. So uh, definitely wanted to focus that and create, an end goal, so when players play, they could, be driven to get to the end.
Right. So in Adam's Ascending, there's obviously a story that you're going, but you said exploration is also a big part of Adam's Ascending. So, we always ask this question, with certain developers like Rockstar or, it's just certainly when there's a game coming out, we're like, well, how big's the map?
Yeah.
Are, what scale are we talking about? Is there space flight? Is there is there more than one planet? Like, what are we actually talking about as far as exploration?
So yeah, I always get this question, and it's always great to answer these to really clarify things. There is some light in a few scenes, I call them, a few levels and scenes that drive you to where you end up arriving, which is a dimension of your soul. So within this dimension, which resembles an island of some sort, there is exploration, uh, but there is. I always called it I always call it, small open worlds where you get to make the decision when you arrive to this place, this dimension, on where you end up, this island, where you want to go. Do you want to go this way? Do you want to go that way, left or right on this direction? And then once you make that step, you'll have small mini worlds to explore, different environments to explore. But I always, even in an open world game like Rockstar, I'm not trying to shoot for anything like that at all. But even in a game that big, there's, even after I finish it, I'm still like, oh, I haven't explored everything, and I'm probably not going to anyways. So I've noticed too, there's a trend of, it's kind of better to give somebody something a little smaller, but enough freedom to explore,
Right.
but to also find those ends so you don't feel like it goes on forever and get exhausted. But yeah, there are going to be sections from, one decision you make that leads to, a more of a, like I was saying, a soulful exploration. You're in this, in another world, another dimension, and in those places you'll explore another. I don't want to give too much away, but another facet of who you are personally, and then you'll travel back to the physical world and explore more, and then back into this the stasis of your own spirit, and explore and fight and face enemies within this interdimensional world. But yeah, there's nothing. It's not like, oh, here's a planet, I'm gonna go fly there. It's more of like, hey, you are on Mars right now. Enjoy this environment. Okay, we're gonna take off. Oh, we're gonna end up here. Now enjoy this place you've crash landed on, and enjoy this, and then move. We're gonna send you to the other side of this island, and it's gonna be a total picture. I don't know if you ever saw or heard of the show Lost. I'm not
Oh
sure
yeah,
if you're
the one
so.
the amazing show with the horrible ending.
Yeah, so we're going for a better ending, but in the sense of, picture this vast island where it's like, whoa, I just discovered this on this island. Oh, I just discovered this. Why is it snowing on this part of the island? This makes no sense. Why
Hmm.
is this? So a lot of ecosystems within, what resembles one ecosystem, but you'll discover a lot of things. And again, I just want to make clear, it is going to be linear, but with the open sense of, oh, this is new. I didn't see this over here. Oh, I went this way, so I found this. But there are paths that you do take. Um, so yeah, I would always say picture No Man's Sky in the sense of vibes, feeling, and mystery. But then picture a game. I'm always inspired by, Metal Gear Solid, the original for PlayStation, and Half-Life 2. Just something that's very closed but feels open. Hey, I could pick up these items and do these weird things with it. Cool. So hopefully that I made all that information clear enough. But I just want to make people feel lost. I want you to go there and play through this world and be like, whoa, it's making me feel something. Whether that is the world making you feel something or the story, just want you to leave with an impact.
Right. Yeah, and it definitely looks like it's an adventure game. You know, like it's you sit down and it's going to take you on an adventure, like old school games. You remember old school games where you sat down back in the old days where you popped in like Final Fantasy VII, and you were about to go in. You knew you were going into adventure. You knew it was going to be fun. Nothing wrong with like games being what I call an experience. Some games are released that, hey, this is an experience. Just here it is, and I like that. I gravitate towards games that are that way. But yeah, I like the fact that you sit down. This is going to be a nice story campaign with a little bit of exploration that you might not see everything the first time around or understand everything the first time around. I really like that.
Yeah, I think there's something from the beginning that really pulled me into making Adams Ascending, which was, in our own personal lives, we always deal with, okay, do I handle the situation with my own strength, with my own ability? Okay, I'm gonna force this door open, and then there's times in life where we got to go, okay, you know what? I'm gonna just stand still. I can't do anything. Let it flow, and if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. And in those experiences, there's a lot more peace in one situation than the other, and one takes more energy than the other. And that's kind of the choices I'm going to leave the player right from the start, where it's, hey, do you want to take this path? It's going to be more of using your brute force and strength and weapons and your external ability to handle the situations you're about to go ahead. Or you're going to take this path, which is going to involve you, thinking more internally and letting things go and being more passive to solve a problem than aggressive. So I kind of want to make that easy, medium, hard options built into the game, where it's, hey, the choice you make is going to present you with different difficulty and different challenges, just like we would in life. Going after something, I'm gonna get this job. I'm gonna knock on every door. I'm gonna, talk to everybody, and I want to get this promotion. And then sometimes you go down that path and nothing happens, and you feel down and out, and you just had to just wait for your season, your moment to happen. So that's kind of what I'm getting across in that adventure. Like you were saying, it's definitely an adventure of just going.
So you obviously worked at NBC and a couple other places. What got you into making a game?
Man, that goes way back. It's crazy. Always loved film and did film stuff for many years. Even did some short films that kind of were like based off Metal Gear. Always was a big fan of Metal Gear. I played games. Man, not to date me here, but my aunt, I remember Christmas, getting an NES, and that kind of got me, hooked into the drug of video games. And then I think it was during
your first console was an NES.
Yeah, NES.
Oh, you're making me feel old because that was my second console.
Oh, there you go. So we're close. So yeah, and then as I got older, it was a game. Big Star Wars fan. A game called Jedi Knight that came out that had actually. I was playing on PC, and it had modifications where you could build your own levels, and I kind of tinkered with that. I don't even know how old I must have been. Just started building random stuff, and I knew I liked it, but I just did it for fun. Like, hey, I want to build my own level. And then, for years just played games and was doing the film thing. And then in 2013, moved out to California. I was from the East Coast, just packed my bags. Me and my wife, we said, let's go. We feel the calling in our heart to come out here. No jobs, nothing.
Oh my gosh. Wait a second. What? Wait, whose idea was this? It was your wife?
It was me and my wife that went together, but it was kind of, to be honest, just a dream. I had a dream that I was going to be on the West Coast, and we came and visited in 2011 for a work thing, and ever since then we knew California, the Bay Area is where we got to be. This is where we got to be. So years went by, and and we're just waiting for the right moment. We barely had enough saved up, and then one day I had this dream of just seeing the Golden Gate really up close, and I woke up and it was before Christmas, and it was like, it's time. We're gonna sell everything we got, like our beds and furniture, and we're gonna pack a rental car. We barely had enough money to drive to the West Coast and moved out here. And then once we got here, you know, it was a whole process. Like, all right, no jobs. Thank God we got an apartment somehow. Let's let's figure out what's next. And that's kind of where I got the my heart was just like, all right, I'm in the Bay Area, man. Games. This is where the game mecca is, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and I just was like, what can I do? I don't have anything. I don't have I guess while I'm looking for work, I'll start trying to make a mobile game. So I downloaded some free software, and it was kind of basic coding, so you didn't really have to code anything, and built a really busted rough mobile game called The Initiative. And I think that's on the trailer might be on my YouTube page, youtube.com/Nick Deplao, I think. But that might be there. And I did this little mobile game and put it out there and barely did anything. But I was like, hey, I made a game. You know, like this. It was barely working and it was kind of functioning, but I did it. So and then from there, uh, you know, I just wanted to keep growing, and I kind of had this like epiphany of just why am I making mobile games? Well, after testing the market and realizing, you know, only a few people got to try it. It was pretty decent, you know, not that many people played it, but it was still good, uh, in my sense of making a game. But I told myself, I said, you know, this is like throwing a needle in a haystack. You know, who's going to find this? Why am I making a mobile game? I love console games. I love PC games. I love, you know, these big story experiences, and I know this market. So because it's what I played my whole life. So I said, why don't I just make my next game, and downloaded Unity, and then that was 2015, I think. Moved out here in 2014, so it was like December, yeah, 2014, and then I did two mobile games, two or three mobile games, like real fast turnaround time, like 3 months, 4 months, just small, short, story based experiences, and then from there, just downloaded Unity and said, okay, I'm gonna make this game. Same thing. I had like a dream, not to go all crazy and sci-fi ish, but I had a dream and
What's up, man?
vision. I like went to sleep and I saw this island, and this island was broken up into three parts: faith, hope, and love. And I just remember seeing, okay, you have to fight these three sections with fear, doubt, and disbelief to unlock this island to be able to enter the center. So I woke up and I had that idea and I said, this is the next game. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't have all the elements yet. I don't even know how to make a game, but I'm going to start. So from there, just started building the game, which eventually became Adam's Ascending. And it's pretty crazy, actually, that you say this, because I think the initial, like, I remember, I think around that time, yeah, if it was 2015, 16, and a lot of No Man's Sky stuff getting announced, and just loved the vibes of it. And I remember saying, all right, you know, I'll code name this game No Man's Island, you know, and I'll be like,
Cool.
and so that was kind of the code name for it. Start, uh, which then grew into Adam's Ascending, because the game's about this character Adam ascending into his purpose. But that's a short version, but that's how I kind of got into building games and making games. So then now I've been doing Adam's Ascending for about 3.5, 4 years, getting to the end finally of like, whew, this has been a journey. So yeah.
Yeah, it's been a journey. You just pick up and say, okay, let's sell our couches and let's
Beds, everything.
move to one of the most expensive places in the United States to live in.
Yeah, I always tell everybody, say, if you have a dream, do not look at the mountain. Look at the seed, the small seeds you have to plant your dream. That's all you need. Don't worry about, well, I need this to get out there, and I need a job first to move here. If you want something, just go do it. And eventually, my mom always would tell me back in the days, she would always say, go, she's Italian, so she's got the Italian accent. She's like, go do it, because what's the worst that could happen? You come back, and it's very true. It's what's the worst? Nothing. Nothing happens. You're back to the same place you were before. Cool. So yeah, just went out there. All you need is a little mustard seed to start your dream, and it takes time. You're not going to see it fully flourish right away, but eventually
Right.
it happens.
Yeah. So you had, I'm looking here on your YouTube channel, and it looks like you had a Kickstarter.
Yeah, I tried one. That was kind of crazy because in December the game, or a month before, the game got into the Kind of Funny showcase, the first one ever, which is their way of showing indie games. So I submitted Adam's Ascending, and then it got in. Like, oh shoot, the showcase airs in December. Like maybe I've been wanting to do a Kickstarter. I don't know if this is the right time, but I'm like, a lot of people are gonna see this. Maybe it is. So really kind
It's
of
happened.
mashed one together super quick. It was a month, but still, probably not enough prep time, and was like, hey, this is my first experience. The best way to do it is to learn stuff. So if it fails, cool. If it succeeds, cool. I learned something. So I figured it was the best time to do it. So launched the Kickstarter in December, which wasn't probably the best time because it's the holidays and a lot of people pretty much spent all their money. And then later I found out that December is like the worst time to launch a Kickstarter too. And then, but it was great experience because I learned a lot of things about, what a game's Kickstarter should be. And for me, it was more of a test. Like, hey, let's see if this is the right timing, if this is the right moment. I'm still going to make this game either way. And if this Kickstarter happens, cool. But I learned a lot, and I gained a lot of, individuals who support the game and wanted to just see it grow. And till this day, I still talk to a couple of people that have supported the Kickstarter and just waiting for the game.
Right.
So
how close did you get, if you don't mind me asking?
I probably was reaching too high. We raised almost, I think, 10,000. I think I was asking for like, I don't even remember. I think it was like 35 or something like that. So that's another learning lesson. It's like, all right, in the end, calculate everything possible, maybe even ask for less. And if it goes above that, then cool. But it was definitely a rough time to do it. Again, because it was holiday season in December and people are coming off Thanksgiving and I think their showcase was in the beginning of December and a lot of people started going on vacation at that time too. So who's going to check their Kickstarters and things like that. But I think in the future, I'm going to see what happens. I plan on releasing the game, hopefully, next year. But I'm thinking about maybe doing another one to see, because the game's definitely going to be a lot different by the end of this year than it was in December when I launched that Kickstarter. So I'm kind of contemplating. I'm like, all right, maybe now, since then, I've had a lot more momentum with the game, and it might be a better time to do it.
So different how?
Well, I always say, I keep pitching it as a new perspective. There's really, from the beginning, code name was No Man's Island. The main character, had a really major flaw. And one of those flaws was that he was physically disabled. And then eventually that would take him on his journey to where he is now as an explorer. So a lot of those elements are getting put into the game now and really kind of changing the way it's played and growing into, which makes it more of an adventure. And you really get to see character growth and progression. So, and there's a lot more. I think in December, the game was a lot emptier and didn't have a lot of scope. So by the end of this year, now the game's starting to finally feel like, oh, that's what the game is. You could do this, you could do that. You have these abilities, you have these powers that I've introduced this year that I didn't have last year. So before it was more of like, oh, explore and solve and find weapons and fight your way through it. Now it's more of, you have these abilities you could gain depending on what choices you make and new powers, I guess you could say, to on your journey.
And you've been doing this all by yourself.
Yeah, it's been a pretty grueling life lesson for the last 3.5, 4 years, solo in development. So I've just been literally teaching myself how to code as I went the first year or two. And then from there, kind of gotten a little better. And now I feel a lot more confident trying to, I'm not a master, but I feel a lot more confident writing a line of code or script, or at least looking at code and being like, oh, that's what it does. And that's what all these weird numbers mean and letters. So um,
Just
I'm
sort of like
starting to,
just a light bulb clicking on, like, oh, I get it.
yeah. So that's exactly what's happening now. But yeah, solo,
Who's
talking
doing
to
the
some
music
public.
for you?
So yeah, that's while I think a year ago I came across his code name is Volt Supreme. You can find him on Instagram under Volt Supreme. And I came across his music, I think through Unity, the Unity community, and and then I saw that he had an Instagram, and then we started talking back and forth, and he was like, "Oh, I know Adam Sending, I love what you're doing, blah blah blah." And then we started talking, and I think I just pitched him the idea one day. He's like, "Hey, you ever interested in doing music? You know, let me know." And he's like, "Oh, I'll do the whole soundtrack for you, whatever you need." And so we kind of just both of us we're doing this out of passion. No one's paying us. We're doing this on the side every morning or night when we have a chance. So came together, and he's from Australia, so going back and forth depending the time of day, and bonding to make music for Adams Ascending. So he's definitely one awesome component of kind of bringing the game to life with music. I'm doing the coding, design, directing side of it, and then my wife, I call her project manager. She's kind of handling the business side of stuff. And all right, let's get these, accounts lined up, or let's get the website up, or let's, more of behind the scenes things when it comes to
Right.
finances and accounting. So it's been good. Obviously you always want support. Support makes things bigger and better.
Yeah.
But I've learned through this whole journey of just makes the little you have is always enough what you need. We always think we need more, but it's what you do with the little to make a great impact that matters. Not because if we all had the greatest and all the resources, yeah, we could all do the most amazing thing. You just point the finger and make it happen. Not to say that's a bad thing, not but we're all having having a little makes it worth the journey, makes it worth, you're like the underdog, man, Rocky Balboa, pushing pushing upwards. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah, I think it could actually do two things. It could either create something more amazing than what it was going to be if you have,
Mm.
if you don't have, I don't want to use the word resources. If you don't have enough to do something, and you got to do it yourself, and you got to do this, you got to do that. I think it actually creates amazing things. It could either create amazing things, or it could cause some people to give up. And
Yeah,
you obviously didn't give up.
no, I think you're 100% right. It kind of, a buddy of mine always says the process with the process of art is elimination. And I think something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, I think having less, there are so many times where it's like, okay, I can't do this, so how am I going to find a creative way to create enemies or do this or that? And
Yeah.
and in the end, I've looked at him like, whoa, this came out way better than doing the way I think everybody else should do it, or how everybody else is doing it. So 100%, it's been. I wouldn't change anything on this journey, and I hope going forward, if and when resources come, that's the same mentality I want to keep. It's all right. We have $5 million. We're only going to be using 50,000. Let's make it work. Like
Yeah.
because that's where you get the best. That's where you get the best. You got to squeeze everything out of. You got to milk it for all it's worth. And then if you can have something good with the little you have, then what can you do with when you have all the great stuff on top of that, the bonus?
Oh yeah.
Uh, so yeah, 100%.
So who's doing like all the sound effects and stuff?
I am. There's a lot of great sources, and I'm again in the Unity community as well as coming from a film background. I have a lot of sound effects from editing and filming
Hmm.
that I come across. So sound effects I've been using and coming across. So I have like thousands and thousands of sound effects and kind of just mashing things together when I need it, and even coming across some great stuff online that you could use. So that's the way I'm using for sound effects.
Right.
But
Wow. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say it's Unity. These engines pretty amazing nowadays, and you can make a lot with a little. So for whether it's sound effects or even graphics or I've got a whole new perspective on making a game now. I think even if a game's horrible that comes out, I still love it because I understand how much work goes into it. And even with a sound effect, or people don't realize when you walk through a door, you have to have a trigger that makes something make a door sound. And then when you walk past that door, there's got to be a trigger and an audio that plays when the door closes. There's so many little things that people take for granted that make a game come together. So, but yeah, sound effects, audio, graphics, Unity's been great with what you could do in the engine with graphics and honestly, there's a lot of resources out there. That's why I say take the little you have. There's a lot of free resources. There's a lot of resources through the communities that you could come across. Like, hey,
Right.
I see that you're 3D artists. You want to help? You want to make this one little thing? And yeah, they want to help. So
Yeah, a lot of
uh,
people will because they might not get paid for it. Um, but let's say I'm an artist and you ask me to help you out. And I'm like, okay, well, this guy's got a pretty good looking game here. I'll throw him a couple models and stuff like that. And when your game does get published and it does do well, my name and my work's in there, and I can put that in my portfolio.
yeah, it's pretty. I can't recall the time frame, but recently, maybe 6, 8 months ago, um, came across someone who approached me, or I approached them, through social media, and I'm not going to say the company they work for, but they work for a major game studio that they're making, major games that everyone's probably playing or heard of. And they had, I asked them, hey, I need this amazing important thing in the game. Would you be down to help? And like, yeah, absolutely. Just give me some time, and in my free time, I'll build you something. And had some amazing art assets currently being made as well as have been made. And it's crazy to now look at this game like, man, this is a game that started in my little bedroom office, and this art asset that I'm looking at. And these other assets are from this individual who's working on this major game studio and game. Like, what? How did that happen? Like,
Yeah.
what? So yeah, all things are possible. You just gotta try. You know.
Yeah. That's some good word of encouragement. So, what would you say to somebody out there who's right now they got this amazing game that they want to make? They're by themselves and they don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. What kind of words of encouragement do you have for that person?
Yeah, I would say start small. Like don't overthink anything, and really lay out weekly goals. I remember when I started, I said, all right, this part of this game takes place on this like island. Uh, okay, let me figure out how do I make terrain, or how do I, even if you already have that and knowledge, you know how to do that. I would say set a goal for the week. Okay, what are you trying to accomplish for the week? Whether it's coding, whether it's okay, in 1 week I want to have whatever the first level done, or the idea of the level completed, or character design or whatnot, and just set those little goals. And then from those little goals, weekly goals, you have monthly goals of, okay, by what are we in now? Oh, we're in August now, I think, almost. Yeah, it's like, okay, let's say by September I want to have this thing done. Okay, then set 4 weeks and reach those goals each week. And then when September comes, you're going to say, wow, I finished this first chunk of the game and I got the first part done. So think small. Don't be overwhelmed by it needs to be this and this and that, and always just focus on the most necessary thing you have to do. Don't worry about all the things that you need to eventually add. And there's so many times I get people, hey, you should do this and fix this, and or this thing's not working. And and I have it there, my checklist, but I'm like, right now, that's not priority. Priority is just whatever, making the character walk through this door right now, and the door triggering an event to make the whole game explode. So it's just focus on what needs to be done. And again, don't worry about, how long it's going to take. It's okay if you're really, and do something that you're really passionate about. Because I've said it a million times. If I was making a game that was somebody else's game that I wasn't passionate about, someone else's idea, not to say working with other people are bad. I'm saying, not an idea that fires me up, then I would have probably gave up 2-3 years ago, because it's like, I would literally tell myself, what the heck am I doing this for? Like, I'm
Right.
suffering every day to do this thing. But because you're passionate about it, you say, this is the end goal. This is what I'm trying to do with it. This is where I'm trying to go with it and make. And every day you'll be fired up to work on it and to get it done.
Right.
So just think small, not small in the sense of what you could accomplish, but think small as in the task that you need to accomplish that week or that day, and just do something you're really passionate about, and the rest will come. Don't worry about all the other cool things that possibly could happen.
It's really good advice. It really is. It says Adam's Ascending is coming soon, 2020.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Did that just give you like a nervous belly feels?
No, just because I feel like I have the plan under control in the sense of, timelines and goals that I've set. And that's kind of a goal. I think in the beginning when I started in 15, I think the goal was 2019 to release it. And it's okay not to always hit your goals. And the game has changed and shifted. And obviously quality is important over quantity. But now for the longest, I said, okay, 2020, it's a great year. Next gen's probably coming. Current gen is still going to be around, and it's a nice transition period. And even for myself, it's like, all right, 2020, I want to be done with this. Not to say it's been a burden or anything. Just like, okay, it has to end or it goes on forever. You could always keep
Right.
going and going. And even if that looks like, hey, I only got this far in 2020, here's a chunk of it. I want to do more of this. If you support this game, we'll make it bigger and better. And I am one individual trying to make a AAA experience in the sense of fun and story and exploration, and whatever it takes. I want to reach that goal, but that's the goal that I've set is 2020, hopefully around August. And that's why you could go to Steam and look up Adam's Ascending now and put it on your wish list if you feel like it. And any support is great support. But
Right.
yeah, that's the goal I've set for myself.
Okay, awesome. And I'll put that link in the description below and stuff. But so you 2020 is when it's going to be released. And you just mentioned the next gen. Do you have like plans? Is it like within your reach or your capability or plans to get this on PlayStation and Xbox?
The cool thing is, I know if it's digital, the plan for sure from the beginning was to get it on PlayStation and Xbox. I'm actually talking to a couple individuals from ID with Xbox, which is the independent, indie game section for Xbox, and
Right.
they've actually played the game and they love it. And for me personally, it just needs to, or they're passionate about it, and it needs more time to cook. So I am working with them, and hopefully, eventually when the game is ready, we could start getting, I could start getting an Xbox dev kit and then start testing the game out on there, and then eventually release it. PlayStation, haven't even had the energy or the time to reach out 100% yet. But I want to release it on anything and everything. Eventually, for me, it's always been the goal. Hey, console, and PCs. Obviously, you're working on a PC and Mac, and that's a for sure. But consoles are always held dear to my heart, and it just is it feels so great to game personally for me. Everybody's different on a console, so yeah, that would be a great ultimate goal as well. I'm shooting for that. There's a lot of steps, and I wish it was just like, press a button and it's released on PlayStation Store and Xbox Live. But there is a process and paperwork and company agreements and things like that, and those things are all being worked out one piece at a time for sure.
Awesome. When you're talking about reaching out and things like that, and do you get a lot of comments from uploading videos or wherever you're posting information about this that this is like, oh, is this another No Man's Sky, whether it be positive or negative?
Actually, recently, yeah, I've gotten a lot more comments. I always put the No Man's Sky hashtag because it's always inspired me as a game, and it's just the same thing as Metal Gear and a bunch of other games that I hashtag it and put it
Mm-hmm.
out there. But yeah, I do get some negative love sometimes, and it's totally fine because, like I said, I always see things of as a past wrestling fan, if people just to give some enlightenment on wrestling, there's the heel, which is the bad guy, and then there's the good guy, and it's always about creating a reaction. So when I get a negative comment, this has nothing to do with this, or this is a pile of trash compared to that, don't even compare it. It's great because I'm like, all right, there's people that are coming to this, people are seeing it, I'm getting a reaction, you're doing something. Because if it was no reaction, that means the game is just flat, and
Right,
it's like
right.
not even worth for someone to react to. So I kind of see it as that way. But yeah, I have gotten negative comments, which is funny because I think people associate, they see an astronaut, and then a planet, and they're like, No Man's Sky. And that's just
Exactly. Yeah.
that's just the environment we are, I think, in as an industry now, where I've even had a great opportunity to go to E3 and to play it, and I had comments along the lines of, it's great that you're doing this by yourself, but people are going to expect a Mass Effect. People, because looks like a Mass Effect, and I always say, well, why can't it just be its own thing? And people just try it and say, this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We always love to compare. Oh, this is like that, or this is, uh, like that other game, and the copies. Like, no, it's just its own thing. But those comments are great. They fire you up, and again, they make you know that you got something.
Right. So,
Hopefully that answered the question. Yeah.
oh no, it did. It did very well. Like, so you were obviously waiting for No Man's Sky to come out and things like that. What did you think about it when it was released?
Oh, I think it was just. I remember seeing the trailer and being like, "Oh my god!" You could literally. I think what they were doing is just amazing in the sense of like I could leave this planet seamlessly and leave and go to another planet.
That's what it was
Uh,
for me too. Yeah, like
And that was just like that was the gamer dream. That was like one day we're gonna play games where you could everybody in the Grand Theft Auto world will be a real person. Like that was like part of that fantasy of like one day you're gonna just leave the planet you're playing on and go to another one. And I think they achieved that amazing. And when I first played it, it was amazing. But the only challenge I always had was like, well, I understand I'm supposed to mine and I'm supposed to grow my inventory, and that helps me to get to the next thing, but I still was yearning. I know the goal was get to the center of the universe, but there was still something, again, coming back to story, that I was always, well, what's this, why, where am I trying to go, who am I trying to find, and what was the real motivation behind, if you were just trying to get to the center, behind getting to the center, what was there waiting for you. And I could be wrong, there could be elements that I didn't pick up on, but I loved it. I absolutely loved the sense of, to me, it's about a feeling. The game gave you a feeling and a sensation, and I love what they're doing with it now and what they're growing into. And I think in the next 5 years, it's going to be another type of game. It's going to continue to grow, and it's never going to stop. And like a real universe, it just keeps growing and growing and manifesting and and sprouting new things. So I think it's going to be here for a very, very long time. And but when I first jumped into it, that's the one thing that I felt was missing for me. But that's everybody. Everybody has something. Oh, I wish it was more like this. I wish there was more mining. I wish there was no mining. I wish, like, there's always something that somebody wants to pick apart. But I think overall, I would say, I don't care what anybody thinks, I think they achieved greatness. No pun intended. And then
Yeah. Hey, Sony, it's Nick Deplao again.
yeah, but I think they
um,
really, yeah, I think they really did great stuff, and I think
yeah,
they're still doing great stuff. To me, it's like they made a game. Anybody who hasn't made a game in their life could easily be like, "Oh, that sucked. Move on to the next." I would say go make a game. Just literally download Unity or Unreal and you just try to make something and you'll see how difficult it is and then you'll just respect anything. And for me, for someone releasing a game, obviously you want it to do well as a individual, as a company, whatnot. But you released the game. Congratulations.
right,
Pop
exactly.
champagne. You did amazing. You just achieved something that the percentage of the world population can't do. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
But
and see, and people, I mean, the when it was announced on Spike TV on that VGX
yeah,
show, you had like this weird environment of this guy in a flannel that you really never heard of before, saying, "Yeah, you can leave the planet." There's like 18 quintillion of them, and then there's this comedian, which his name is escaping me at the moment, who I guess there was some animosity between him and Jeff Keighley,
yeah,
and
I remember that.
right, so it was being taken out on Sean Murray too. And I'm like, well, this is just odd. It was the way the announcement was birthed into the world, became viral. It was such a pivotal moment in gaming. The announcement of No Man's Sky and just everything around it was just like some weird vortex of weirdness. And when we seen that we could leave the planet and go out into space, and we think space, what's out in space, more planets, what's out there, I think that people forget and forgot back then that No Man's Sky was an indie game with a
Yeah,
small team. Think Journey on
yeah,
a much bigger scale, right? And that's what
yep,
you were
sure.
doing, journeying to the center of the galaxy. And but one thing that I get the comments all the time because I do have a No Man's Sky centric channel, and I get comments like Sean Murray lied. They didn't everything they promised at launch wasn't there. The thing about that is, yes, we can have a discussion about PR, public relations with the community they were trying to sell the game to. We can have a talk about that all day long, and I'll probably agree with most people on a lot of things. But the point is, in 2014, Sean Murray came out and said he was talking about how you could be a pirate, you could be a bounty hunter, you can join factions and do all this stuff. And then he stops himself and he goes, a lot's possible with No Man's Sky, but not everything will be possible when the game launches. But I feel like we're going to be working on this game long after it ships.
Yeah, it's
That was, as far as promises, that was a promise to you that everything he talks about, going from that moment forward, is probably that is a disclaimer there saying, look, the game's not going to be done when it releases. I mean, they were investigated by the AMA, and they didn't find them to be guilty of false advertisement, probably most likely because of that statement right there. So
yeah.
they never promised us anything at launch. And I'm getting off into a tangent.
No,
But
I agree.
I think that people not in our community, not in the No Man's Sky community, but people outside that never were part of the No Man's Sky community, or they didn't stick around, I think a lot of people forgot that this is an indie game.
Yeah, I think, and that's the weird thing about the game industry, where there's like two, three facets I want to dive into with this conversation. Where it's one, most people will be like, oh, here's a PlayStation stage, here's a game. Oh, this is big budget. Again, these guys they're I think it was I forgot their mobile game, but they worked on a mobile game literally before making No Man's Sky. Like that was their first game, whatever. I think second game. And their team is so small, but that's the problem where people watch and they assume constantly and just like, oh, this is a big game. It should be all these things. And that's the comment I got when I was demoing my game was just, oh, this is, if I didn't tell people, hey, it's just me, they automatically assumed it was like 30, 50 people making the game. And, oh, it's a little buggy here. It's like, yeah, it's just me. Like, what? So it's the same thing where people are watching No Man's Sky and they see, a ship leaving a planet and they instantly go, oh, I could do all these things and all these things I have in my mind. I'm going to be able to do that. It's like, no, just enjoy the game. Whatever it is, it'll grow. But, that's people.
But see, the thing is, you can't put I can't put the entire blame on because Sean Murray said a lot of things in the interviews, but that I when he reported that it wasn't going to be done on GameSpot, I then made a video saying, this is the news in No Man's Sky. It says it's not going to be done when it ships. So we were all along on this journey the entire time I had the mindset that all these things that he's talking about probably won't be there when the game launches. I didn't think early access. That's not what was going through my mind. Maybe I should have. Maybe Sean Murray should have. Maybe Hello Games should have reiterated what they said in 2014 along their journey. But I don't think that, because they said a lot of stuff. I don't think the people that were listening intently and then getting mad that the things weren't there, I don't think that it's their fault. I do think, because they only said it once in 2014 that it wasn't going to be done. So it's just a weird situation where, but you overthought. Oh, but you didn't listen. Oh, but you talked too much, Sean. You know what I mean? It's just like this weird finger pointing thing. It's just, No Man's Sky is just a very polarizing thing. The community, the announcement, the release, the updates, everything around No Man's Sky is polarizing. The fact that it was one of the most hated games. Now if you go to Steam, it says that it's mostly positive. And it's just it's like the Twilight Zone. Who would have ever thought that in 2019 people would be saying Fallout 76 released and the Anthem and they're getting some backlash. Can they pull it off like No Man's Sky?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to hear that perspective. And then oh man, I'm going blank on a game that just recently came out. I don't know why I'm going blank. It's now I feel so bad. Geez, what's the game? Do you play PlayStation or no?
Yeah, PlayStation.
Wow, I'm going blank. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Did it have a?
Recently came out. Geez, you play as like a biker, and
Days Gone.
Yes. Why did I just go blank on that?
Sometimes I go blank on that too. On Days Gone. Yeah.
Yeah, but for prime example is I think Days Gone got reviewed horribly. Like I think IGN gave it a 5.0, right? And I think I don't know what IGN gave No Man's Sky, but I'm sure it was higher than that. But now, and you get this backlash for No Man's Sky after a high review score, and they're getting a backlash now in this, or after they released in a game like Days Gone, horrible review score, but for the company, it's like one of the greatest selling games they've ever had. And people who have played it are going, oh, I really love it, and I'm enjoying it. And yeah, it's a little choppy here and there, but it's amazing. I can't wait for the sequel. And so it really just comes down to, you as the player, what do you love? And in the end, just play a game because you love it. Who cares if 1 million people love it or 1 million people dislike it? If you're really enjoying a game, whether it's Days Gone or No Man's Sky, soak it up. I think there's a lot of things also that happen in the background of a game, in the sense of whether it's visuals or sound or music that make us, be attached to a game, and whether it's the controls that we think, oh, this is hyped big. The people who enjoy it are loving it, whether it was marketed huge or marketed small for No Man's Sky. And the people who just are not going to like that type of game will hate it just because. And they'll make an excuse and attach, oh, he lied, this is why I hate it, and so on and so forth. That's just an excuse of why they don't want to play it. But in reality, if you like the game, you're going to stick with it.
Right.
Whatever the director said, if he said I went left and right instead of right and left, like, who cares? Do you like the game? No, then don't play it. That's it. I think it really comes down to those people don't enjoy it, and it has nothing to do.
No, you're right. And there's also a solution to all this. I got a slogan. I tell my viewers this all the time, and I also say you don't have to do this because it's really difficult. I do this. I literally live by wait, watch, buy. You know, I wait while I wait. I don't pre-order, right? And then I don't buy day one. And then when the game gets released, I watch somebody that did, and I see for myself through the gameplay experience that person is having, whether I want to buy it. And if I do want to buy it, then I buy. Wait, watch, buy. If you do that, you're not going to be one of those people on the internet angry for something that you bought that's super buggy or is it's filled with it's not what it was promised to be, or all of a sudden you realize that the rest of the game's all paid season pass. You know, you don't have to. You're not going to be upset. Now, there's been many games that I do that with, and I just don't buy them because I waited, I watched, and I didn't buy. So I think there would be a lot less people on the internet upset. Now you could be upset because you're like, oh, I was going to buy this, and I didn't because it didn't turn out to be what it was supposed to be. It's just wait, watch, buy. And I think there'll be a lot less angry people.
No, yeah, I'm on the same boat, man. There's some games I don't pick up for literally a year later because I'm like, all right, now I feel like I'm in, and I want to play it now. And then sometimes I'll buy it and play it for 4 hours and be like, it's not what I wanted. Okay, on to the next. But I'll still wait, and because in the end, you got to tell yourself the game's always going to be there. It's not going to run away on you. It's okay unless it's something you're dying to play, then go ahead, pick it up. And I'm just the same boat, balancing time and life and work and game development. It's like the game I'm going to play, it has to be something I really want to play at that moment. And I'm okay with putting it off till I'm ready internally to take the step and soak it up. Because then you have a different point of view too. If you go into a game very hyped, extremely hyped, and then you might not get what you're visioning, you're going to be like, screw this. But sometimes by just waiting, that hype kind of simmers down, and then you could really evaluate, hey, do I still want to play this? Yeah, I still have a desire to play this. I want to dive deep into that. And then you'll pick it up and really enjoy it.
Right.
So I think that's what it really comes down to, and I think from the beginning, even a game like Days Gone, from little preview builds, people are like, oh, frame rate's bad and blah, blah. So there was already this like negative mindset going into it. So sometimes that happens too. Instead of a big hype, Death Stranding's coming. It's a Kojima game. It's going to be amazing. Sometimes that hype could also be the most negative thing ever because you might play and be like, wait, it's 3 hours long, or, it's not what I expected. This sucks. Well, just enjoy the game,
Yeah.
And
wait watch, buy,
it.
because even if it's 3 hours, that's pretty bad. But
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like it's Kojima, it's a work of art. Maybe after it released, if it was 3 hours long, then you could be like, all right, well, now I know it's 3 hours long. Now I just want to support the guy. I think it's an awesome passion project. All right, I'll buy it. You know what I mean? So that if you waited and then you watched and you found out, then you bought, you're not gonna be one of those angry people.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting topic to talk about as well. Is it's like, what if Kojima was like, hey, this is a 2.5 hour game and we're selling it for $20? Would people go, hey, this should be the new standard?
No,
or would people complain? Like, oh, I need 50 hours. What are you doing? And that's something personally I want to kind of change, is like, why do we have these standards? Why does a game I understand I love a long game, but like, why does it need to be 40 hours and $60? Why can't we balance and, create an experience that's, imagine if you get a game like Death Stranding or No Man's Sky, obviously a lot more compact and smaller, but every other year for a way cheaper price and a great game to digest for 2-3 hours and be like, that was amazing. That was superb. I can't wait till a year and a half from now till I get the next one, instead of, I got to wait 6 years for God of War 2, or whatever. So it's, that's another topic that audiences really kind of break apart, is game's length. I say if a game's good, a game's good. That's
Yeah.
it. It's like,
Exactly. And what's good for you might not be good for somebody else. Like
yeah.
I was talking earlier, like I love games that are experiences. I like some pretty weird games out there. My gosh, there's one that's really escaping me. It starts with a P and it's very pixelated, and you're on an island, and my goodness, I can't remember the name of it. But all you did was you just traveled around the island, and you interacted with butterflies, and it had music that would just like change the game and the environment around you. And it was like, I think the entire campaign of the game, like the whole from beginning to end, was like 5 minutes, 10 minutes,
Man.
and but it was just such a surreal feeling to be there. It was a really cool little game. I mean, I don't think I even paid anything. I think they were giving it away for free, but it was awesome.
That sounds, yeah, I think that's what it's about. It's about just feeling, an experience, a unique experience, enjoying it. And there's obviously a place and time for a game like Zelda or God of War,
Oh
No Man's
yeah,
Sky,
it's the AAA's the Hollywood of video games. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like that's where you've got amazing top shelf professional musicians, artists, actors, Hollywood actors. You've got all that stuff. It's the Hollywood of games. They're only going to make things that are franchisable. Not all the time. They do take risks, but that's where you go to experience the Hollywood of gaming. And then you've got the indie scene, which I believe is the indie industry is where innovation comes from. You might see a game like No Man's Sky, which I don't know. We could argue, is No Man's Sky considered a AAA game today? Maybe
Yeah,
because of the sales.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors. I think it's also like, hey, do you have backing of a major studio or company like Sony, or I know you might be 5 or 6 employees, but it really, if you start having backing from, there's a lot of factors. It's crazy. It's like,
Yeah, it is.
What's indie now?
I still consider Hello Games an indie developer, but I might look at No Man's Sky as being more like a AAA game. It's on Xbox, PlayStation, PC. It's even over there in China on their version of Steam called Tencent Wii Game or something like that. And it's one of the most was at one point one of the most played and sold games in China. Which is always interesting to me. Like, they got like this firewall. You can't see what's going on over there on the internet. And I want to know if there's like a bunch of like people over in China doing like these streams of No Man's Sky. I want to see that stuff, and I can't.
Nah,
But
I'm sure there is. Yeah,
but yeah,
pretty crazy.
I consider No Man's Sky a AAA title. Hello Games is still an indie studio, but it's games like No Man's Sky that when they come out, AAA will look at it and they'll take bits and they'll take pieces of that, and they'll add that into some of that technology, some of those ideas into their franchises, and so it's in my belief that I think the innovation, the ambition for the entirety of the gaming industry comes from indie.
Yeah, they're really pushing things forward, and there's some great, amazing ideas that are being built every day. And there's so many crazy indie games that I come across on social media, and I'm just like, wow, this is great, and it's tough in the sense of coming onto a console platform, because then you're from the outside. If we step away from the mainstream gamers, from the outside, you're instantly considered AAA. Like you said, even if you are a indie developer, your game's kind of considered, oh, this is AAA, because most people like, hey, I saw this trailer and this commercial. I want this game called No Man's Sky, and most people who are not in the loop will automatically assume this is a big studio. So it's the uniqueness. I definitely see it coming from the indie side of things, and I think it's continued to grow. There's more creative freedom for me personally too. Of just, okay, it doesn't need to be like this. It could be like, I've even thought about a million times, like, hey, I could change the direction of the art whenever I wanted to, if I want to. I could go in this direction or that direction and totally change the concept of the game. Like, do I want it to be a shooter? Do I want it to be just explore? I can make those choices on a dime and go in that direction. And when you have that freedom, you kind of have the power to innovate in a sense, because you can
Right.
really focus on one thing.
So with your game, are you going to like do what we see with Minecraft and No Man's Sky? Are you going to is this a project that you're going to keep updating and making and improving after it's launched in the way that we've seen No Man's Sky for the last 3 years, or do you have something in mind that you want to start on next?
Yeah, I think that's always the tough question. I feel like when the game does come out, it will be at a really solid state, and it will be able to hold itself up. And I think if, let's say, I think there will be hopefully a large group of individuals come out and love the game, and let's say you get thousands upon thousands of people rallying and saying, "Hey, we would love this in Adams Ascending." Then you start going, okay, there's a group of people here that really want something. Let's give it to them. But I do, you know, have plans in my mind. Yes, the support and to finish the game. And again, it's very story based, and it's very focused on a linear exploration aspect. So everything that will be there probably the day of release, like old school games, and it'll be there. And I kind of, for myself, I personally go, hey, make believe there is no ability to patch anything.
Yeah, there's no Ethernet
Obviously,
cord, guys. There's no Ethernet
yeah,
cord here.
I
This is
cut it.
Sega Genesis. This is
Before you play it, you got to blow on the screen like,
yep.
and then press play. So, but yeah, I always kind of have that mindset. It's like the game's got to be what it is out there. And if there's obviously something major, you go back and clean things up, but there shouldn't be. Hopefully, obviously, there's a lot of different users that experience different things. But yeah, I kind of already in my mind, I have ideas that are racing of just what I really want to do. And I learned a lot from Adams Ascending about, focusing on a type of game and what people want, what makes a game unique, what doesn't. You could always say you know these things until you experience the process, and then when you experience the process, you say, "Oh, that's what's missing. I want to add that into the next game," or I want to, games now. I look at. I know we've been using No Man's Sky all day, but a game like No Man's Sky, when it came out, you could instantly say, "Oh, what's the hook?" Look at the environments, and you could go anywhere. Boom,
Right.
that makes it pop. So it's kind of like going forward in my next game. I kind of want to go, okay, what are the hooks? What's going to get people attached? Yes, story is one thing, but what's the gameplay loop that's really going to be unique and stand out? So yeah, I have tons of ideas, and I have some ideas of just keeping things focused on more of a one location experience that has multiple ways that you could influence it. I think that's a unique thing to. Obviously, I don't want to dive in too many details, but if you walk into your own bedroom, let's say, you're able to interact with everything in that room. If you want, you could rip the door off. You could take your clothes and throw them on the bed. You could flip your bed upside down. Like, you could literally smash down walls if you wanted to. So I kind of want to create. Obviously, that takes a lot of work if you were making a huge game. So I kind of want to focus on something that's smaller and to say, hey, do whatever you want in this world to get ahead. You got enemies coming at you. Guess what? You could rip a car door off and use it as a shield, or you could grab an elevator door and use it as a blockade. I kind of want to make a very unique experience next. Not that Adams Ascending isn't, but I kind of want to stretch. I want people to see something and go, "Whoa, that's different."
Yeah.
Even more than what I'm making now. So it's there's definitely ideas brewing for the future, but I'm always there. I will always support Adams Ascending. I already have a sequel story in mind if the game picks up, and there's already a story of what happens next. The game does come to an awesome conclusion, but there's already, I already know how it could unfold if that request and want is there.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of making a game where everything is interactable in an environment such as like a house or a small apartment, you could create like a the girlfriend is coming over simulator, and you could have to try and pick up and clean the house and wash the dishes and stuff before she
I
gets
get it
there.
going, man.
Yep.
I'm sure
It's
a
kind
lot
of
of
like
people are
Hello
like,
Neighbor, but it's
yeah.
the girlfriend's coming over.
I could already hear a lot of people saying, "Hey, I do this every day, man. I don't want to do it in my video game world. Come on,
Right.
man. Like, get it ready.
Yeah,
It's practice. It's rehearsal. Come on, you got to practice in the digital world."
that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's fun stuff. There's a lot of fun stuff out there, and I think that's the very unique part of indie games is
Yeah,
you could do
exactly.
anything.
Exactly.
Nowadays an indie game could be, hey, start the game and you're an ant, crawling up a tree. Like, oh, this is cool. If you do it in a unique way, people love it and totally soak it up. So
I'd play
it's
that. Yeah, I would definitely
yeah.
play that.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Is there anything that we didn't cover that you would like to mention?
Yeah, I know we had a nice conversation. I think we mentioned, yeah, Adam's Ascending is growing, and I think I would just like to tell everybody out there, to go put it on their wish list on Steam, and even if you don't play PC games, make a Steam account just to do it because I'd be grateful. I'm just a one man crew right now, two including uh, musician, and three including my wife helping out on the side. So
Right, right.
any support would be huge. But I think on top of everything, I just would tell anybody just start where you are. Whatever you're doing, whether it is building a game, whether I want to get into the industry or I want to be a lawyer. You could do it. Don't ever think you can't do it because I literally turn on a computer with no sense of how to code. And again, I'm not a professional in the sense of understanding everything, but it's you could do it. You just have to want to do it and just take a major leap and take a step. You don't have to go to California like I did. You could you could do anything from where you are. But hey, if you feel it, take a step. You're not going to regret it.
That's awesome. Very good advice. Very good advice. And exactly, just do it. Like Nike says, or Shia LaBeouf. Just do it.
Do it.
You know what I mean? Just do it.
He was getting at something, man. He had that fire in him, so he knew what was up, and he was just doing it. He did it, so
That's right.
That's what it's about.
That's right. Adam, this is probably one of the most awesome conversations I've had here on the channel, and I appreciate you for coming on.
No, yeah, I appreciate you letting me come on, talk about Adam's Ascending, and to just hype it up. I just want people to, set their expectations and hopefully one day sit down and turn it on and just, feel moved and want to achieve their own dreams after playing the game. And that's what I just, in this life, if you're not helping people, you're not doing anything, no matter how much we accumulate and things we think that are important. In the end, it's about when we're rocking away in our rocking chair at 120 years old. It's about, help. Did we help people? Did we help them achieve what their purpose is? Because when you give, it comes back to you in the long run. So
it does. It does.
That's it. I just want to give. I want to give to the community. I want to give to the gamers who love games, who just want to play something and feel something great. And that's what I'm here for. That's why I'm building this. And I thank you 1,000,000,000% for 1,000,000,000 times over. Let me speak a little bit about the game and just to be able to have this opportunity. So thank you.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Guys, if you're watching, it's free to go over and add something to your wish list. So if you do have a Steam account, go over and do that. And like Adam, I called you Adam. Like
hey
Nick
man,
said,
I'm Adam in spirit, man. He's every day.
Yeah. Like Nick said, if you don't just create one and add it to your wishes. It's always good to have a Steam account. I mean, even if you don't play PC, because you can see what's on there. You can go through and see what kind of games are on PC, see what's going on PC. But again, I'm not asking anybody to pre-order or back anything on Kickstarter, thing like that. But we have to get out there and support indie developers. And And this is one way that we can, by showing Adam some love and going adding that to your wish list. I will definitely be buying Adam's Ascending, and I'll do a little bit of a Let's Play. I don't do much Let's Plays here on the channel. I'm more of a podcaster. I like to talk, and so, but I will play a little bit of Adam's Ascending here.
And just to hear you say that is very surreal. So that, oh, I'll purchase that. It's a, I understand the responsibility I have to give somebody worth their value. So I because I want it when I play a game. So I thank you for just letting me be able to be in that opportunity. And yeah, just the support. I always hear people, oh, I'll buy it when it comes on PlayStation or Xbox. And I always say that will happen once we show that there's a lot of momentum for it in where it gets released, because then that's a way, a lot of these companies also say, whoa, you have 200,000 people downloading this game. Why is it not on our platform right now? Or whatnot. So that helps a lot. So anything you guys could all do, I'm just one guy trying to inspire the world. So
right.
Thank you so much for, I'm humbled again for everything you just said. So thank you.
Yeah, most definitely, Nick. And when you are, if you have updates, just send me a message and say, Cobra, I want on your show. You don't even have to ask. Just demand it. And I'll be like, yeah, sure, bud. This is, I got this time set, and definitely, if you don't want to come on before the game is released, definitely on launch or just before launch or however you want to do it. I would love to have you back on the show to bring a more laser focus on it when it's at a really crucial time.
Yeah, 100%. And I will definitely reach out to you when something comes along. Like there might be a potential opportunity maybe for it to be at PAX. So if something happens, I'll let you know, and I'll get you in on the loop, and hopefully, I'm setting my eyes on the Game Awards. So if anybody who gets this, please tweet Jeff Keighley and say, hey, Jeff Keighley, you got to get at Deplau's game on the Game Awards. So like that's one of my goals, is to get on there. So please, that's I'll definitely reach out to you when big things are moving and shifting. Oh, and there is a demo. I forgot to mention. That's silly of me. There is a demo available at parableworlds.com.
Oh, there's a demo.
Yeah, I just kind of finished a PC version. There's a Mac and a PC version. It should have full controller support. So if you have an Xbox controller, or I think a Logitech controller, or whatever, third-party controller, you should be able to plug it in, and it should work with the controller. It's really rough. It's a pre-alpha. Repeat, pre-alpha. So it's super rough, and this is literally the demo that I've sent to Xbox and a couple other individuals. So there's a survey there on the website that you could click afterwards and give me feedback on it. So if anybody does that, I would truly love it.
All right. Send me that link in Discord on a private message, and I'll definitely add that into the description in the video. And what I'll also do is I'll put like a little thing right in the beginning, because I know we talked about a lot of stuff, and sometimes people don't make it to the end of podcasts. So what I'll do is I'll put a little on-screen graphic letting people know that there is a playable demo, and some other information too that we talked about later, as far as adding to wish lists and stuff like that. I'll put those on the screen, so that way people get that idea early on in the show.
Cool. Yeah, I just sent you the parableworlds.com demo link.
Okay.
So you should be able to click in. Whoever wants it has it, and there.
All right. Awesome, Nick. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it, man.
No, thank you, and thank you for all the hard work you do and putting this all together, and all the coffee you keep drinking, and
yes.
and seriously, keep inspiring the world. I'm honored to even have this conversation. So thank you.
Awesome, Nick. Thank you,
and keep
buddy.
chasing your dreams. Don't stop.
That's right. Chase your dreams. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just listen to Shiloh.
Yeah. Watch this video on repeat while you go to sleep.
That's right. Yeah.
Your dreams will come true.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
All right. Bye, Nick. Take care, buddy.
Take it easy. Talk soon.